Deja vu here, fellas.
Oh man, we're doing this again.
Deja
man.
vu.
Part two.
What is up, everybody, and welcome in to the DNVR Nuggets pregame lounge.
Let's go.
Presented by Miller Time. What time is it, fellas?
Miller
time, baby.
And Miller Time, it tastes like Miller Time. You know what I mean?
It sure does. It sure
If
does.
you've got one, crack it open. If you don't, that's okay too. I am Brendan Vogt alongside Harrison Wynn, Superstar Dev, and we're hanging out in the Toyota Lounge here as the Nuggets get ready to take on the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas. And you're not watching the wrong show. This is not the old episode. They're just playing the same team twice in a row. Nuggets are still in Dallas. And I'm really excited to break this one down with the fellas. Harrison Wynn, how are you, man?
Oh, I was wondering if I was going to get an intro there.
I was going to let you go.
Go right through it. Me and Dev made eye contact. Yeah. I'm doing great, man. Look, I get to watch Nikola Jokic play basketball tonight and Russell Westbrook. How lucky am I? I'm hyped. I can't wait.
What a treat. Superstar Dev's in the house.
I want to give a special shout out because I work in education and we have a very special student named Sophie.
Shout out to the future.
Sophia is my young best friend, sixth grader. Started the year out rocky. She is now doing great. She's on to some wonderful things, and I just wanted to shout out Sophia.
Wow, on a Russell Westbrook trajectory.
On the Russ, that's exactly what
tiny
she's
bit
on.
rocky first,
and everybody's gonna love her. Everybody's gonna love her when it all comes down to it. Can't wait to see her in the playoffs.
Unique shout out from Superstar Dev to start the show. I absolutely love it. Today we're going to get into game notes. We're going to take a look at the standings because I don't know if you've checked them recently, Nuggets Nation. A particular team is climbing, getting closer to a particular spot. We'll talk about Dallas and Denver. Are these two teams in the same tier? Certainly having different seasons, grouped together in the standings for different reasons. We'll have that conversation. And of course, we'll fire up the Bet365 app where Superstar Dev loves to make us some money. But first and foremost, game notes fall on Mr. Wind today. Harrison, what do you got for us, boss?
Well, in terms of injuries, the Nuggets, they're pretty healthy. They had a bunch of guys on the injury report. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. They were all probable, expected to play, and they are playing. So the Nuggets have their full disposal of roster tonight in Dallas, part 2 of this game. And for the Mavs, they're getting somebody back, Dev. Kyrie Irving is back.
Oh.
I thought this guy was going to be out like months.
Oh.
He's back in the lineup. Jason Kidd said he's going to play 30 to 33 minutes tonight.
Oh, so he's coming back with no limits, really.
Doesn't sound like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of capping it at 33.
Yeah, that means just go out there and play.
Yeah, don't worry about it. And if it's close,
he probably
play
averages 33 minutes.
I'm going to look it up.
Like exactly 33 minutes. This really is wild news because we knew that they were on a down trajectory because they had been missing Luka, Kyrie Irving, and it didn't seem like they were going to be around for a while. This Dallas team does play hard. So just having them to the mix and adding Kyrie Irving back, especially saying that he could play 33 minutes. I mean, they're on the up and up again.
Yeah. So both teams healthier, than they were this last game. Luka Doncic still out for Dallas. That's good for Denver. Michael Malone had an interesting comment pregame about Aaron Gordon. We've spent a lot of time over the last couple of days talking about the starting lineup. Who's going to start when Aaron Gordon slides back in there? Well, it doesn't seem like he's going to come off the bench, or it seems like he's going to come off the bench for a while. Michael Malone was asked pregame how long he anticipates Aaron Gordon coming off the bench like he did on Sunday. He said for a while. That 18-minute range, talking about minutes there, is the sweet spot for now. Michael Malone said on Aaron Gordon, he's so selfless. He's willing to do whatever it takes to help this team win. So it seems like we're going to get this Aaron Gordon off the bench look, in that 18 to 20, 21, 22 minutes per game range for a while. So we're putting off the toughest decision of the season in terms of the starting lineup for a bit.
Are you guys shocked by this news?
No.
Why not? Because this is not typical for Michael Malone.
Yeah, well, this seems like it's also coming from Aaron Gordon. I've got to think. I mean, AG, he just got back from a calf strain. He's already had a calf strain earlier this season that maybe he came back too early from. So maybe he's learning from that. Because if Aaron Gordon wanted to start, he'd be starting. But maybe he's also looking at how the Nuggets starting lineup is looking right now and being like, I don't want to disrupt that chemistry. I've got to think he's playing a big role in this too.
Sure. I mean, his willingness to do it it certainly doesn't accelerate the decision, right? But I think it's probably about the injury. I just think it's probably about how limited he is. And so if he can only play 18 minutes, it's easier to bring him off the bench than start him and figure it out from there. But in the meantime, it could help this bench, man. It eventually they're going to have to figure out what the intended rotation is from start to finish, but him off the bench changes the way that bench looks. And if Murray staggers next to him off the bench, I think that's a look people are intrigued by right now.
Yeah, I think I'm conflicted because I understand not wanting to break that chemistry, but also if you don't, I'm not saying break the chemistry, but if you don't go with the rotation that you're going to have later in the season, if you're going to have in the playoffs, that doesn't give the right group the right minutes, and they're not going to play the exact same way. So I do understand wanting to change it up, but we already know what the Nuggets core is. We know that Aaron Gordon is a pivotal part of trying to win a championship, so you need him in those rightful minutes. Maybe it's limited, so you go after it, later on. But I do think that that's just a little bit different.
Yeah. I think there's time, though. We still have a long time left in the season. We've got, still 40 games left to play. There's a lot of time for the Nuggets to figure out, whoever the starting lineup's going to be, whatever the bench playoff rotation is going to be. We got time for that. I think right now is just about riding this wave of momentum they're on. And I think AG recognizes that. I think it's very interesting the different approaches that the Nuggets and Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray are taking regarding playing right now. I mean, both guys are banged up. One guy's coming off the bench playing 18 minutes a game and says he wants to do that. The other guy is playing 40 minutes on the second night of back-to-backs on a bad knee. That difference is interesting to me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Murray has a different, I would imagine, pressure to play right now.
Why? What pressure?
Well, he's had a long reputation.
He just got $200 million.
Well, here's what I mean. Internal pressure, right? As the criticism is Murray misses a lot of time. So when he's kind of hurt and he's not sure how he wants to handle it, or not sure if he should go or not, you can tell in his quotes right now, he feels an obligation to play. He does feel like he should.
I do sense that, yeah.
If you're in that situation, would you rather play not to your best of your abilities or just stick with the hey, I have to get healthy, I have to get my body right?
I mean, listen, I think the latter sounds enticing, but I would imagine for Murray, there's a pride mixture in here as well. That's just a different equation for Gordon, who every second Gordon's not on the floor, the fan base isn't holding that against him right now in the way that they are against Jamal. And I don't think Murray wants to be a guy who's unavailable. So when he tries to play through this stuff, I don't really mean that as an excuse so much as it's just the difference, right? I think Murray feels like he needs to play right now.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for game notes. Nuggets Mavs Part 2 in Dallas. Should be interesting. It feels like no team ever sweeps these little 2-game sets. The Nuggets split the one against the Spurs 1-1. The Nuggets already won this first matchup. It feels like they're, playing with found money right now tonight. But if they could get both, that'd be huge.
Yeah,
that'd be absolutely huge.
The sequel is never as good as the original.
That is true.
And then second off, I think that there's a piece of we already beat them. We're gonna not play as hard. And the other team has the very opposite mindset. This is gonna be a bit different because now the Mavs are bringing back Kyrie, one of their star players, so they have a little bit more to play for. Hopefully, the Nuggets take that and say, now we're going to play a bit harder. You're bringing somebody back. We're not going to have the same type of letdown spot. So this is going to be an important push to just see if you can control a team twice.
It's an important game for both these teams, maybe particularly so for Dallas, and maybe that's why Kyrie is back tonight. Maybe, who knows, a touch earlier than he would have been otherwise, because super producer Kale, if we take a look at those Western Conference standings in your National Basketball Association, Nuggets 4, Mavericks 5, with a game and a half between them, this is a big game. I mean, I know there's a lot of season less to go, but you know, Dallas and Denver are probably teams that as Dallas gets healthy, they're both going to win the majority of their games down the stretch. They're going to try to climb the standings here, and getting separation now matters a lot. And I really hope, Harrison, that Denver is able to separate from Dallas tonight. It's not a small game in the standings.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Nuggets and Mavs are destined to play in a playoff series. Jokic, Luka, like Jamal. There's so many natural storylines. I feel like it'd be such an enticing matchup. Maybe it happens this year. But, I mean, the Nuggets, if you look at the schedule right now, I mean, we feel it because we're on this show every night. Schedule's crazy right now.
Insane.
The back-to-backs, the travel, Denver, Dallas, like
Every other night.
the schedule's crazy right now. And maybe it's helped Denver a little bit. I don't know. Because it does feel like the Nuggets are in a bit of a rhythm. It does feel like they have some momentum. They're playing with joy right now. And I wonder if the compact schedule might be helping that.
I mean, they weren't great with lots of rest to start the year. They've been good on the second end of back-to-backs.
Yeah.
Something to this.
Yeah,
Something to this.
trying to get in that rhythm.
It does feel like, you know, at the end of the season, 2 through 5 in the West might come down to a game or two.
Yeah, and that was a push for me. Vogt just was talking about like how this game is important about trying to cross some separation from the Mavericks. You're up a game and a half, and they could make a whole one. But also, the Nuggets are right in the thick of things of trying to go after number 2. You actually can go chase the Rockets. Who I mean, I'm not buying. I don't believe in that right
Okay,
now.
let's pull those standings back.
There's
up, Roger.
also the Grizzlies that you're a game behind, and we already know they're a bit of a rocky team right now. So I think that the Nuggets are getting it together at the perfect time, because besides the Thunder, everybody else is in the mix. This is the time for you to go and chase somebody down and cause that type of separation.
We're looking at the standings, as Dev just mentioned. You'll see Denver is 1 game back, 2 wins, but 1 game back of the Memphis Grizzlies. And I think that is a pretty realistic track down as far as a goal goes. And look, we know the Nuggets don't want to exhaust themselves getting one of the top 2 seeds, but they're only 3 games back from Houston. So, Dev,
And
go ahead.
they also play the Rockets.
That's
tomorrow.
right.
Tomorrow on a back-to-back, which they've never lost.
They've played very well on back-to-backs. This is an important stretch. You know, you win this game tonight, you win tomorrow. You could also, you could jump over somebody, or you're right there in the mix of, maybe you're tied with the team. So this really is an important stretch. And then right after that, they have the Heat, who are in disarray right now. They're going
That's the
through
game Jimmy Butler's coming back for, by
their
the way.
issues right now. This is a very good spot for Denver to try to make some ground up.
So let's do it. I mean, this is a pregame show, fellas. It's not some in-writing preseason prediction. But let's talk loosely about it. I mean, Dev, where do you think Denver falls in the Western Conference standings when it's all said and done?
I'm going to go with number 2.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be the second best team. They really are figuring something out right now, and that's an important piece of just trying to get something together. We also talk about that joy. That is something that has been missing throughout this whole year, and it's very important for the Nuggets to play with that type of style and brand. Everyone else doesn't have the same type of energy and juices right now. Everybody else is going through a bunch of injury that they're just really trying to get through the stretch. And truly, the Rockets always start like this. So this is an important stretch to try to say, hey, we're here to stay. We're going to try to contend, and I think that they could go to second.
What do you think?
I think they'll wind up at 2, most likely. I don't think anybody's going to catch OKC. I mean, they have a 6-game lead right now. That's probably going to be 10 in a couple months. OKC's already won 32 games. The Nuggets have only won 23. That's 9 games fewer than OKC.
Yeah, 1 is done. That
That's
ship
a
has
lot.
sailed.
I don't know if anybody's catching them unless there's a big injury.
No chance.
I think they'll catch Memphis. I think they'll catch Houston unless Houston can somehow wiggle their way into the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes and pull off a deal for him, I think he would be okay going there if he doesn't go to Phoenix. So I think 2 is a very realistic possibility. I would, bet that's the spot they wind up in. Dallas, injured, Clippers, just not buying that they have that ceiling. And then, everybody below there is just a mess. So it's right there for the taking. And, you look at where the Nuggets are, they're healthy right now for the most part. You've always got, the little bumps and bruises. But 23-15, with the schedule they've had, with the injuries they've had, I think they're in a great spot.
I do too. And, I think catching Memphis is going to happen personally, we'll see. I mean, if they
only
lose
a game back.
If they lose this one, it's on me. I think catching Memphis will happen. Houston can happen. I'm almost more worried about Dallas catching up. That's why I think tonight's such a big game.
Yeah.
I'm almost more worried about Dallas catching up and it finishing those 3 teams as 1, 2, 3, maybe. Not to discredit what Houston and Memphis are up to. I just think Denver and Dallas are probably better teams.
I think Dallas right now, fully healthy, is probably the second best team in the West.
Yeah, but also I really am shocked about where Memphis is right now. They have not really been healthy this year.
Yeah, well, it's been the J Huff masterclass.
Desmond Bane has not played a ton of games. I feel like John Morant hasn't been able to consistently stay on the court.
But they're like a mini OKC, Like they just have a bunch of guys that they throw out there and somehow they're good. They're
playing well right now. And then also, as bad as I felt that Minnesota was all year, they're also still, right there.
Sure, no one's
in the
that
mix.
far out.
So
yeah.
Denver truly does have to put a good stretch together, or they could fall. This is a danger zone spot for them. So it's right now has to be the push.
Dev, Wynn said he thinks Dallas is probably the second best team out west when they're healthy. OKC, I think, just as far as this regular season environment, you can put it in pen, man. They're number 1. Where is Denver in that conversation? And I guess more specifically, are they on Dallas's tier in your mind?
Yes. I think, full health. I think Denver's the best team. I think that right now, Oklahoma City is the best team playing right now. But we know in the playoffs that could change. You got to have to come into it with a different mentality and prove yourself. And OKC hasn't proved that they could win when it truly matters. Denver has. So I still like Denver's chances in that. But they really do have to show themselves as a different team. They do have to start focusing a bit more on defense. There has to be some consistent play from your top players.
Yep.
You have to find something with this bench unit and try to ride that wave. But really, I think that right now Denver has momentum and they're trying to figure pieces out while being in the mix still. So this is a good spot.
I think maybe the difference for me between the two teams, Dallas's quest is to get healthy. Denver's quest is to get better between now and April. And in a way, probably more drastic for the other than the other contenders because they're talking about Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, and that kind of thing. But yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's OKC 1A, right? And we'll see about the playoffs, but OKC 1A easily. And I still think the next 2 teams out west are Denver and Dallas. And Denver has the best player in the world. So I have to put them in a tier with Dallas, even if it's been a somewhat rocky start to the season.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was on the last postgame show that in the playoffs, I'm still going to pick the Nuggets as things currently stand to beat anybody. Like, I'd pick them to beat OKC. I'd pick them to beat Dallas. I'd feel confident going into those matchups. Those would be tough-ass series, but I would feel confident just with Denver's pedigree and experience and having Jokic. I'm still waiting to see them flip the switch on defense. If the Nuggets are able to flip the switch defensively, and I'm not saying they're going to put it together for a whole game here and then a whole game there.
Because they won't.
They probably won't. They didn't in the championship year. But I want to see it in the fourth quarter. I want to see it in the last 5 minutes. I need to see a few more of those just lockdown defensive clinics in close games down the stretch. Like I said, fourth quarter or clutch time. That's going to really make me start believing. Like, I think the Nuggets are on their way, kind of. The offense, they figured it out with Westbrook. And I've still got hope that, Jamal Murray can get there by the end of the season. Defensively, I just need to see it in spots. I need to see it in a fourth quarter in a big game. Like tonight would be another great example of that potentially.
Yeah, I think that you said the most important part. It's the big games for me. In front of everyone right now. Like tonight is a TNT game.
Yep.
Put some defense together in that type of spot. When you go and play against the Boston or a Cleveland Cavalier or the Thunder, show that you can slow down their superstars. Or, you go out there and it's a hard-fought game. Even if you don't win it, but you put together a defensive clinic or a low-scoring game, that's what would do it for me. Because right now, it's all high-scoring games. I don't care how it is every single night because I do think that it really does have to be a switch. But in those spots, are you able to get a stop? Are you able to come up with a game plan that slows someone down? I think that's important.
I think tonight, you mentioned it's on national TV. I think tonight, and this is going to sound weird because we've spent most of the season talking about Russell Westbrook. I feel like this could be the coming out party for him nationally because I still don't really feel like the rest of the league has caught up to what's happening with Westbrook in Denver. Like we talk about it on Twitter. We're very well versed on it, when we log on. And like I said, we spent most of the season talking about it. But like from a national perspective, if Russell Westbrook goes off tonight, if he was to say get a triple-double, like there's going to be a new light shined on Denver just nationally. I feel like the rest of the nation is going to pick up what Westbrook is doing here, maybe after this game if he plays well.
I think so. I got a text from a buddy asking me, Westbrook's been good with the Nuggets, right?
That's what I'm saying.
And it's like, no, he's been exceptional.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we know, we've talked about it. We know about it. If you're on Twitter, you know about it. But does like your dad know about it?
Right.
Like that might change tonight.
Yeah, I agree. All right, good conversation, fellas. And if you're familiar with the program, you're familiar with what happens now, we are going to take out our phones and fire up the Bet365 app because our prime picks are presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app now and use code DNVR365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Folks, you do not have to play with us, but you sure are welcome to. We'll throw it over to Superstar Dev. Is there money to be made tonight?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nuggets come into this game as 3-point favorites. 3. I usually don't take a line or do anything here. I'm taking this one. I really like the Nuggets to cover their 3. I think that they handle business. I know that the Nuggets struggle in these nationally televised games. This is a spot that I don't think that they let down. I think that they play well. I think they put it together for a full game. That's crazy. I think it's -3, and I'm going to take that.
That's a rare bet from you.
Very
to be
rare.
honest.
Very rare.
Yeah.
And I put it on my favorite bets.
Look at that. He's got a good feeling, folks.
There's an over-under of 234. I'm going to go with the under. I know we talked about that defense and trying to have a switch. They didn't get close to this last game. And yes, they're going to bring in Kyrie Irving, but I think that there was also like players playing well in the last game that I don't expect to have the same type of games. I just think that there's going to be a bit more focus on that end of the floor. So I'm going to take the under 234 in this game. On the Mavericks side, Kyrie Irving is playing.
He is playing.
I am taking the over, of course. Over 24.5 points.
Can he get that in 30 minutes, though?
Can he get that in 30 minutes? That's a good point. That is a good point.
Probably.
I'm sure he averages that much.
Look, in a close game, he probably will go above that.
Yeah, he's playing. I take the over. I'm going to also take the over 2.5 3-pointers for Klay Thompson. For whatever reason, he is always open.
Yeah.
3 of them could fall in right now. He just played well against the Nuggets. He really is very inconsistent as well as a shooter, but he's a shooter that you have to respect. You have to put a body on him. Denver, for some reason, just lets guys shoot. I think that this is a game that Klay Thompson will get over 2.5 3-pointers in.
By the way, Dev, he does average 35 minutes a game.
Oh, they're going to take those 2 minutes away, huh? For the Nuggets side of things, let's go to our usual. Over 2.5 3-pointers for Michael Porter Jr.
I like it.
You got to make some shots. Especially this is a nationally televised game for you too. I really do think that this is a coming out party to say, hey, he's been getting it together. He's been knocking down shots, and I don't know if you guys seen, but there's still conversation about if they're going to trade him. I think that this is a spot that he has to show, I'm still here to stay. I'm playing well with this Nuggets team. I think he knocks down shots.
He's coming off a quiet game, Porter. Not a good shooting game. 1 of 8 from 3.
A couple games in a row where he's gotten him up but hasn't hit him.
Yeah.
So he's due, Dev.
He's due. That's exactly what that means. Let's also go with a Christian Brown to make a single three-pointer.
Okay.
A single three-pointer.
Just one.
He's always open. They give him those opportunities. He just has to knock it down.
He's cold right now.
He's in a cold spell right now. This is important for him to knock down a shot and show that, like, maybe I can knock down shots. I'm also going to play a little bit more defense. They need him in these type of. So I'm excited to see the type of game that he plays, offensively and defensively. Mr. Nugget was really good last game, and he gave us some great minutes. He did a little bit of everything. He's coming off of the bench, so his numbers are a little bit skewed in this one. They have his over rebounds and assists at 6.5. I like it. I think he could get this in boards alone. So you get some assists to go along with it. 7 is not too high for me. Jamal, I think that the over 5.5 assists at plus money, I'm going to take it. Malone backed him in the last game, and I think that he continues to give him opportunities. He's playing a bunch of minutes. If he can't get to his shots, like making those shots early, he like tends to go into point guard mode because he still has to do something while he's out there. You can't just stink it up completely. So I think that the assist is there. Also, there's extra scoring opportunity. I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to knock down shots. We know Jokic has a mismatch every single time down. I just think that there's other spots that he could get some assists in. 5.5 assists is too low. I'm going to stick with the assist bet. I'm going to go over 6.5 assists for Russell Westbrook.
Heck yeah, dude.
You can't get a double, triple-double without getting over 6 assists. You just can't. So this is just perfect math. Like, I've become a mathematician voluntarily, and this is the one that I'm going to go with to show that I'm really good at this stuff. So over 6.5 assists there for Russell Westbrook. For Bet365, I want to just thank you in advance. They gave us an early bet for Peyton Watson.
Yeah.
They never do that. They always take off Peyton Watson and Russell Westbrook. This one is stocks. It's only 1.5 stocks. He's been blocking. He's been grabbing steals. He's very active right now. I think this is another showcase game of him defensively. He's playing really good right now.
I've got a stat for you guys.
Give it to us.
Did you know that Peyton Watson has a block in 13 straight games?
Oh, that's fun.
Whoa.
13 straight games.
It's a
And in
crazy
a lot
one.
of those games, he's got 2+ blocks.
That's insane.
13 straight games with a block.
I love that stat. I think that Jokic has a big game on the boards yet again. We just saw this. He had, 18 rebounds in the last game? And I think that was like a weird spot for him, not defensively, but just like altogether. Also, it's only 13.5. I think that Dallas, they didn't really play that well. They didn't score a bunch of points. There's going to be a lot more scoring opportunities. There's going to be a lot more shots that they could take in this one. Also, they don't have big men that keep Jokic away from the rim. That's why he gets a lot of rebounds in this spot. This is another good rebounding spot for him that he's just down there. You don't have a spacer. So 13.5 rebounds is too low. And for our lock, we're going to go with Jokic over 22.5 rebounds plus assist.
Ooh.
I just like the insurance. I really do think he's going to get like 16, 17. He might get like 19 rebounds, honestly.
Yeah.
And then you could just get assists to go along with it. We know that he's a passer. We know he could get other people involved. The assist is what I really like here as well. I'm going to take a bit of both.
All right, man. Some good stuff. Got some good bets from Dev, a lock from Dev. We're about 30 seconds here from unofficial start of the game. I'm not reading your name. Sup, Wind and Vogt. You two are like Brody and Brate.
Wow.
That's a lot nicer than the last guy who said it was
Thank
like
you.
a Zeke and Faku 2-man game. Brody and Brate feels
you
like
guys
an
are doing a
upgrade.
2-man, baby.
No, it's hashtag shut
Pause.
up and take my money. Win for you.
For me.
Who should guard Kyrie? CB, Puss, Russ, or P-Watt? Puss.
I mean, I want to start Russ on him, and I want to see a lot of Peyton Watson on him tonight, too. We'll see both those guys on him.
We'll see how it shakes out, and we'll see you either way on the other side right here in the Toyota Lounge. Thanks for watching.
We all city like the mayor.